The Circus Animal's Desertion by William Butler Yeats. Section 1. I sought a theme and sought for it in vain. I sought it daily for 6 weeks or so. Maybe, at last, being but a broken man, I must be satisfied with my heart. Although winter and summer, till old age began, my circus animals were all on show. Those stilted boys, that burnished chariot, lion and woman, and the Lord knows what. Section 2. What can I but enumerate old themes? First, that sea rider Oisin led by the nose through 3 enchanted islands, allegorical dreams, vain gaiety, vain battle, vain repose, themes of the embittered heart, or so it seems, that might adorn old songs or courtly shows. But what cared that I that set him on to ride? I starved for the bosom of his fairy bride. And then a counter truth filled out its play. The countless Kathleen was the name I gave it. She, pity crazed, had given her soul away, but masterful heaven had intervened to save it. I thought my dear must her own soul destroy. So did fanaticism and hate enslave it. And this brought forth a dream, and soon enough, this dream itself had all my thought and love. And when the fool and blind man stole the bread, Cuculain fought the ungovernable sea. Heart mysteries there, and yet, when all is said, it was a dream itself enchanted me. Character isolated by a deed to engross a present and dominate memory. Players and painted stage took all my love, and not those things that they were emblems of. Section 3. Those masterful images, because complete, grew in pure mind, but out of what began? A mound of refuse or the sweepings of a street, old kettles, old bottles, and a broken can. Old iron, old bones, old racks, that raving slut who keeps the till. Now that my ladder's gone, I must lie down where all the ladders start, in the foul rag and bondshop of the heart. W.B Yeats' poem The Circus Animal's Desertion is one of his last and most reflective works, written in 1939. It explores themes of artistic inspiration, disillusionment, and the quest for meaning in creative work. The poem is divided into 3 sections and is written in iambic pentameter with an irregular rhyme scheme, giving it a conversational and introspective tone. Section 1. The Poet's Creative Crisis. Yeats opens the poem with a confession of creative stagnation. He describes his inability to find a theme for new poetry despite his efforts over 6 weeks. This section establishes the central conflict. The poet feels abandoned by his once reliable sources of inspiration. Yeats uses the metaphor of circus animals to represent the vibrant imagery and themes of his earlier works, which he feels have now deserted him. The mention of circus animals reflects how his poetry once entertained and dazzled, much like a circus performance. However, Yeats now views this imagery as superficial, emphasizing his disillusionment with the performative nature of his past work. The tone is self-critical, suggesting that the poet sees his earlier creativity as lacking in genuine emotional depth. Section 2. Reflection on earlier works. In this section, Yeats reflects on the major themes of his past poetry, enumerating them one by one. He recalls the mythical, romantic, and political imagery that shaped his earlier works, realizing that they were often inspired by personal desires or illusions. Oisin's Quest. Yeats references his poem The Wanderings of Oisin based on Irish mythology. The heroic quest of Oisin, who leaves the mortal world for the immortal land of Tirna Ong, symbolizes Yeats' early fascination with grand myths and legends. However, he now sees this as escapism rather than a pursuit of deeper truths. The Fool and the Blind Man. These figures represent the mystical and symbolic imagery in Yeats' poem The Shadowy Waters. They reflect his preoccupation with abstract ideas and philosophical musings. Yeats critiques these themes as detached from the raw emotions of real life. The Beautiful Woman and Political Struggles. Yeats references his romantic poems about Morgan and his writings on Irish nationalism, No Second Troy. These themes were deeply personal and political, but Yeats admits they were driven by his own ambitions and unfulfilled desires. Yeats concludes that the masterful images of his earlier works were rooted in vanity or self deception rather than authentic emotion. This realization marks his disillusionment with the artistic ideals he once cherished. Section 3, Turning Inward. In the final section, Yeats shifts his focus from external themes to internal truths. Here, the ladder symbolizes the ascent to artistic transcendence, which Yeats feels is no longer accessible to him. Without the support of grand themes or imaginative inspiration, he must confront the rag and bond shop of the heart, a metaphor for the raw, unrefined emotions and experiences at the core of human existence. The rag and bond shop evokes a sense of decay and disorder, suggesting that true creativity arises from the messy, primal aspects of life rather than polished or idealized imagery. It implies that genuine art must come from confronting these unfiltered truths, even if they are painful or unappealing. This section concludes the poem with a sense of resignation but also a commitment to authenticity. Yeats accepts that the essence of art lies in the depths of human emotion, not in the lofty illusions he once pursued.